WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello. It is Monday at 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be back. You know, I was not here last week in person because I was in Washington, D.C. For those of you who don't know, my wonderful daughter, the Wayne County Commissioner, chair of the commission, fell and injured herself, injured her elbow, had to have surgery, and she's doing much better. The surgery was successful. We think she's got a bionic arm now. I think she's got all sorts of titanium in her elbow, but she's coming along. The cast is off. She's going to physical therapy a couple of times a week. And so she's coming right along. She's being a real trooper. In any case, last week, I traveled to Washington, D.C. with her for the National Association of Counties annual legislative conference. And while we were there also on last Tuesday, uh, she was honored by the American Medical Society, Society of Doctors from across the country, 3 or 4 thousand of them, who come together once a year to honor different community people for the work that they have done. And Alicia was the one chosen for Michigan as someone who has done many things as it relates to health services, providing services to people throughout Wayne County. And so we were just thrilled that she received that honor. It was quite an event. We didn't realize it was as big an event as it was when we got there. It was at the uh, Grand Hyatt in Washington, D.C., and it was a reception and a big dinner and big awards and all sorts of good stuff. There were 6 people throughout the country who received them, and she was one of them, along with Dr. Gupta, who is the president's person for drugs. And so he was there. We had a chance to meet him and talk to him. And so it was a great week in Washington, D.C., but I went with her to assist her because she's only got one arm, and you would be amazed at what you can't do that you thought you could do that you did all the time. But she's coming right along, so she's getting better and better every day. So we had a great time in Washington, D.C. And now this coming Monday, I won't be here again because she's been invited to the White House for the African American History Program at the White House on next Monday. So we're real excited that she's received those invitations. It's so much involved with helping people. That's what she's about. That's what she's done over these last 20 years that she's been in office. So I'm really, really proud of her. Now, my guest today, wonderful young lady. I call many of these young people my children because they are my children's age. But she's been around for a good while, probably more than 20 years, doing all sorts of things in the community. And I first met her. She was on faculty at Marygrove College when Marygrove College was still open. So, that's been a while. And I was, at the time, chair of the 14th Congressional District. And she was involved in helping young people at that time and working in the community. And she's still involved. She is now, or was, the state representative for the area. She was term limited, but she's still working in the community. She's been a young lady who's done so much, and not just locally. She's done it statewide. And this is someone I really admire because she does fishing and hunting, stuff I don't do. So I just admire her because she does all those wonderful things. So I am just pleased and honored to have on the show former state representative, Madam Leslie Love. Leslie.
Hi. Thank you, Commissioner. The wonderful Edna Bell. I am just honored to be able to just walk in your shadow, my dear. So thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm just glad we've been trying to do this for a while, and I'm so glad our schedules finally got together where you were able to come on the show and talk about some things that go on statewide that you've been involved in that a lot of local people really don't hear as much about. And that's really why I want you to talk about some of those things that we need to get some of our urban children and urban people out to some of those I've called them far-reaching areas to do some of those things and to experience some of the things that you've done. So everyone, the next voice that you will hear for the next 45 minutes will be Madam former State Representative Leslie Love, and she's going to take you through the whole show. Have a great time, everyone.
Thank you, Edna Bell, and congratulations to Alicia, my unofficial twin. Sometimes when we're out, people go, "Oh, you know who you remind me of, Alicia Bell." So I do feel like your daughter, and I feel like she's my sister, and we're all these public servants for the people, and I'm just so honored to play guest host on your show. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, hello, and I'm so glad to be here. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. What Ms. Bell was alluding to with my fishing and hunting, I wanted you all to know also that I am a state of Michigan Natural Resource Commissioner. So I, along with others from across the state who are appointed to serve on the Natural Resource Commission, We are the group, the body that works with the Department of Natural Resources to decide the method, manner, and take of fish and game in the state. And we also, and some of our, and the land of that the state owns. Sometimes we sell it, sometimes we're buying it, and how we want to stock our lakes and streams in the state of Michigan, and a variety of other issues from managing chronic waste disease to PFAS in the water and many things in between. That's what our natural resource commissioners are charged to do. And it is an honor to serve as the first African American woman to serve in this position. So a little bit of Black history and women's history today on this February 20th. And it is dynamic because I'm coming from the city of Detroit and serving this capacity, and there's so much revenue that is generated from Southeast Michigan anglers and hunters, and I'm going to get into that in my show today. So, how y'all doing? I hope you are doing well. Listen, I want to begin by saying a sincere, heartfelt condolences to the family of the Michigan State University students who were slain: Ariel Anderson, Brian Fager, and Alexandria Vernier. We send our prayers and our love to the Michigan State University community and all of our students and faculty and staff at universities and colleges across our great state. So I want to just begin by saying that. And as a person who is a hunter or who hunts and fishes, who owns a firearm and who was a former state representative, that I think is very important that we honor and respect responsible um, firearm management and responsible legislation that keeps our citizenry safe. So that's very important to me. So let's get into some really interesting things about the state of Michigan. Did you know that our fishing and hunting communities generate about $11.2 billion in purchases annually that support that industry? And it is one of the largest, one of the top 10 job creators for the state of Michigan. So our hunting and fishing communities are really vast and strong and extremely active in the state of Michigan. And in fact, in all of our wonderful United States, Michigan ranks in the top for hunting and angling. And we have some of the best trout in our streams and lakes in Michigan. We're kind of known for our trout population. So in fact, last year, I visited two of our hatcheries, the Marquette Hatchery and what was the other? The Plate River Hatchery. And so in the state of Michigan, you all may not know this, we raise our fish. We raise some of the fish that go into the lakes to make sure you have a bountiful, plentiful, healthy harvest of fish. Not all the fish there are naturally hatched. They are grown. So we do that in our hatcheries across the state of Michigan, and we determine where to put those fish based on population, predator rates, and other dynamics to say where do we need to stock more fish so that we can have an active fishing season. And let me just tell you the story. So I hope you all are fish anglers out here, and I encourage you to get your fishing license because that's going to start March 1st, and you can participate in that. In fact, I have some pictures of me fishing and hunting, at least some of the pictures of that. So this is at the hatchery. I believe this was at the Plate River Hatchery, and that's one of the bins on, I guess you're looking at it. If I'm looking at it, it's right corner where you see the salmon. We have salmon. I've gone salmon fishing in Lake Michigan, and our boat actually caught the largest salmon. It was like a 50-pound salmon. It was amazing. And it was so good. And then those little bins there, they're got the little the test tube baby fish in there, and that's me and some other commissioners touring. If we gotta go and show the other picture here, this is me fishing on the Detroit River, catching walleye. And in the frying pan, guess what that is in the frying pan? I had never heard of this ever in my life until this time I went fishing on the Detroit River. What's in that frying pan, folks? Our fish cheeks. Yes, fish cheeks. I didn't even know fish had cheeks. That face so tiny. Who knew? But there's a whole thing, and it's like a yummy delicacy, I like to call it. My fish cheeks. Probably people eat fish cheeks all the time. I had never heard of it. It was good. And let me tell you this interesting story. The first time I went fishing on the Detroit River, I was kind of nervous about it because I'm like, it's the Detroit River. I don't want any fish out of the Detroit River because I'm thinking the water is going to contaminate fish and the fish is going to taste nasty. But we went jigging for walleye. And let me tell you, I went home and I cooked that walleye and it was finger licking good. I just sauteed it on the stove. I had some vegetables and a little bit of rice. And it was so delicious, so delicate. And it's nothing like going out in that water, especially when they're biting, and casting your line and just pulling up a bounty, one after the other. And that's what we did. And the day we went fishing and I got the fish cheeks, we went over into Canadian water. So when you're in the Detroit River, part of that is American and the other part is Canadian. And so what you absolutely have to have when you go fishing is what? A fishing license. Yes, you guessed it. We have to get our fishing license. So we're in the boat. We're like, we want to fish in Canada. Y'all have Canadian license to fish. So we're on our phones and looking up. Oh my God, I got to get this app, and bought our license, and we were able to fish. And in fact, the Department of Natural Resources has a new app that you can download. And because if you deer hunt, they're going to ask you to do some new reporting requirements for this season. And it's really easy way for you to do that right on your cell phone. It's easy to download. It's easy to navigate the system. And Sandy Rose, who's the producer phenomenon, can tell you she's a master with this electrical technical stuff. I, however, am not. And if I can figure it out, folks, and trust me when I tell you, I'm not the most savvy on these little devices here, but it is. And so if you're a deer hunter, you'll be asked to do some specific reporting about your harvest of deer. So let's go to another shot of me. And this is, I'm a fins and feather type of girl. And so I do hunt, and that's me. And I think we're at Hunter's Creek in that picture hunting pheasants. I went pheasant hunting, and we're there with our guide. And I wish I remembered the dog's name. Please forgive me that I don't remember the dog's name, because our guide would be so upset. And it's a family. Hunting is a family sport. And you can see the young man there with his dad, and he has his little appropriate juvenile size rifle. And I shot with an over under and caught quite a few pheasants, and they taste delicious. It doesn't taste like chicken, but it's good. It's good. It's good. And there's another shot, I believe. Oh, it's not in there. Nope. It's of me duck hunting, but that didn't make the reel, so that's okay. But I encourage you all to get your license if you're interested in fishing and hunting this season. Licenses go on sale March 1st. We begin that, so you can do that on your screen. Is where you can go, www.mdrn-elicense.com, and that's where you can purchase. And if that's too hard to remember, just go to michigan.gov/DNR and then click the links. That'll take you right to the site where you can buy your license. And you know what? You don't have to buy your license off the website. You can walk into any Myers, almost any sports store, and get your license there. You can go on your computer, and get it from the website or go into a store. So lots of ways to get involved. And then everyone, some people, they don't like to hunt. They don't like to take their food that way or do it for sport. There's also clay shooting. We have master um, Olympic champions in clay shooting out of the state of Michigan. And in Hillsdale College, they just opened a magnificent training facility. So if you're into clay shooting, you want to learn how to do that, I highly recommend. Hillsdale College has a new site, and the Nimrod Society has a program there that really honors conservation and the history of anglers and hunters in the state of Michigan. And so if this is something that you're interested in, I encourage you to go take a look in that department as well. But know that our hunting and angler community is very strong in the state of Michigan and very needed. Hunters contribute significantly, about $62 million annually in the fees, the surcharges, um, and other payments that are required. We really, the industry pays for most of the conservation and habitat restoration done by DNR. So if you like taking those long walks in the beautiful nature that you see, a lot of the money that comes to keep preserve those habitats and those environments and those trails come from hunters and anglers and trappers as well. So that's something that we contribute to it. And again, one of the huge job creators for Michigan, one of the top 10 in the industry, creates about 171,000 jobs. And we have in our state about 700,000 hunters and 1.1 million anglers. That's a lot. That's how we get to that $11.2 billion that they bring into the state. And we do a lot of work around the conservation of our waters and wetlands, lakes and streams, and also habitat, including habitat on our own state parks. So we have one right in our backyard in Detroit on the wonderful owl known as Belle Isle. Now, you probably remember Belle Isle as a place with a giant slide. Well, that's true too. But you know what else? It has so much more to offer. And on the show today, I have a special guest. I'm going to bring him on in just a second, but I'm going to take a breath to tell you, I hope that you will consider this year, this season, one that you will come out and enjoy the outdoors. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you, but it's by the weather that we're having right now, I'm thinking we're going to have one incredible spring, summer, fall season. Lots of opportunities to get outdoors and enjoy nature and what they have to offer. So I'm so glad that Edna Bell allowed me to use some of this space on her show, Community Bell, to talk about our lovely resources and some of the work that we do, Resource Commission, and what I do as a commissioner for the state. And you're probably thinking, how does she get into that? I'll tell you. I'll tell you how it happened. When I was in the State House of Representatives, I became the co-chair of the Sportsman's Caucus. And the Sportsman's Caucus is made up of legislators from the House and the Senate, and they actually have a national one in Washington, D.C. And I believe Congresswoman Debbie Dingell sits on that caucus, the Sportsman's Caucus, on the federal level. And the same issues and the same topics that we take up on the state level are the conversations nationwide about our national parks, our waterways, our animals, our endangered species. How do we responsibly hunt and fish? And how do we take care of the environment that people and our animals live and thrive in? And so when we find dangers in that environment, whether it's chronic waste disease or the slime. There's this funky little slime stuff in the water that's hazardous, or um, PFAS in the water. Those are all things that kind of come across our table, and the Department of Natural Resources, who does a yeoman's job. I want to thank all the folks there, and the conservation officers even. Speaking of which, we talk a lot about law enforcement. Most of the time you hear about law enforcement, it's been lately something kind of bad in the news about an officer beating a Black person. There are lots of people who are thinking about getting in the career of law enforcement, but maybe if that has like kind of tainted your view, you know where is a good place to go into law enforcement? As a conservation officer for the Department of Natural Resources. You probably didn't even think about that. We have folks who, and they have to go through M codes too. So you are a full-fledged officer. And some of our conservation officers have prevented, um, what do you call that? Human trafficking. One of the conservation officers told me a story about them stopping a human trafficker who was trying to pull a young girl across the ice. It was still a lake to go to another. I don't know if it was to Canada or New York or wherever, but they were taking this person over the ice, trafficking, and they stopped them. So it is kind of a, maybe you might feel like a do-gooder of the conservation officer. Because you're really just protecting our lands and our waters and keeping people safe out there as they fish, hunt, angle, or trap, and and just enjoy nature. Maybe they're just hiking, camping in the woods. Our conservation officers are there to make sure those environments are kept safe and you are having a pleasant, enjoyable, and hopefully a very successful, if you are trapping or fishing or hunting, a successful day out there, day or night. So with that, I want to go back to my special guest. We've got an opportunity to talk to a real pioneer. I call him a pioneer in this space. He is a park manager for Belle Isle and Milliken State Park. I think he's been around for a very long time in this industry, super smart. He's the guru of Belle Isle. And so, if we're ready, I like to bring on my guest, Paris. Are you there?
I'm here. Good afternoon.
All right. Yes, yes. This is my guest, Karis Ford, who is, as I said, the park manager at Belle Isle. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And I'm so glad you're able to join us.
Yes, thank you.
And yeah, because I know you know that there's a lot of good stuff happening on Belle Isle. We are so every now and then this Michigan weather just teases us with some, ooh, it's gonna be nice. Ooh, don't you want to come outside and play? And so on Belle Isle, there's gonna be a lot of reasons to go outside and play, right?
That's right.
Can
Absolutely.
you,
Absolutely.
yeah. Can you tell us some of those things, that new improvements on the island? What are you all doing over there?
Well, one of the first things you mentioned fishing. We added a lot of new ADA fishing locations around the park. So now you can cast right into the Detroit River, and you've got a nice area where you can put your poles. And also, a couple of them are by some of our picnic shelters, so you're able to sit down underneath the shelter while you're fishing. So that's one of the bigger improvements that we've made to help with the fishing. And also, we also did a project um, where we opened up part of the park itself and part of the Detroit River, where now the Detroit River comes into Belle Isle. And so now you have another fishing hole, which has just immensely improved the fishing habitat within the island. So those are some of the good things that are happening. And on the other side, we have the conservatory. We've got that project going on. That's an $11 million project. And, with a lot of the
The
facilities.
beautiful glass building with the dome, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Okay.
And with that project, a lot of the facilities in Belle Isle are very, very old. And so we had a lot of things that were starting to rust and rot and had to be replaced, as far as beams and the glass on the very top of the dome. And so now you'll have that experience where you don't have to worry about something falling down on you. But now the guests will be able to come in, enjoy the gardens, and then also enjoy the inside and outside of the conservatory. And then also we've got some work going on at the aquarium. I know you know that they've got an octopus out there now, but we have to have some of the correct HVAC systems in place to help maintain the octopus. And you'll have that going on. You've got some other ADA ramps and such going on at the aquarium. And so you'll have a much safer entry into the location. More, it's lighted more bathrooms. So we're going around the park and we're doing quite a bit. You've got the good old Scott Fountain. That Scott Fountain probably gets 3 million visitors alone, just with people coming in wanting to take pictures, and they're remembering their childhood and things like that. And so we were putting quite a bit of dollars into the Scott Fountain to make sure that that's working and running. And we're even trying to get it back to where we used to have the light show when I was a child.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
remember
you
that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we're working on that, because it has actually the original of everything underneath it. So we just redid the electrical underneath the fountain, and a lot of the plumbing's been done. And so we're doing a lot of stuff on the very top as well. So
Okay.
once that's done, you'll be able to enjoy the fountain like we once did as kids.
That's great. I talked to you, and the word on the street is that back in the day we had canoes on Belle Isle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What will happen? Will we have canoes this year on Belle Isle?
We do. We actually have a new vendor. And so now you'll be able to rent a canoe or a kayak, and you can actually go around the entire park now. And that's the big change. Whereas before you were very limited to where you could go, but now you're able to canoe and kayak around the entire island, which is people are just out and enjoying it.
Does that water stream have a name that's around that you would? What is it called?
In the canal channel itself.
Yes.
Yep. Well, it's part of the Detroit River,
Okay.
and then I always forget the name of the channel itself. I'll think of it before the interview's over.
And how deep is the deepest part?
About 30 feet.
Oh, okay, that's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's deep. Well, I'll be in there with a life jacket because I still have not learned how to swim yet. As much as I love being out on the water and to play in the water, and I want to get on one of those canoes this year. But yeah, that would be fun. What else will there be for people to do on the island?
If you come out, you could go to the beach area. That's another location that's undergoing a lot of renovation. The building itself will have like a restaurant portion where you could get food from the vendor, and then we'll have another picnic area that's created out there. You'll be able to sit and eat your food and enjoy the water. And then plus we've added more sand. So we've made it, we always call it an international beach. So it's so it's the popularity is incredible with the weekend crowds that are down there. So we're looking into adding some additional parking and some other items so that people can come in, enjoy themselves, and use the beach.
That's great. Now,
Yep.
I talked about my work as a commissioner. You're an employee of the Department of Natural Resources. And so a part of what we do is conservation. And
Yes.
I believe there's been some big conservation improvements on the Isle. You know about that? Want to tell us about that, I should say, because I know you know.
Well, we've done a lot of work with our stewardship groups. So we have a lot going on. We have a lot of youth groups that are in there right now. We have a partnership with Michigan State and also the University of Michigan. And we're addressing a lot of the, whether it be oak wilt, it just depends on what's going on the island. So we do a lot of things to maintain that green space. And we also have done the Flatwoods project. And the Flatwoods will now give you a little educational type tour as you're walking through the woods now. And that's been a huge project. It's been going on probably 2 years now, and we're nearing completion. So when you're done with that, you'll actually be able to go through the woods. You come off the original trail, then it will take you through the woods, the flat woods, then you'll be able to understand a little bit more what's going on back there as far as water flow and things of that nature, the water table. It's also the area where the Eagle's Nest is located as well. So we get a lot of people that are riding their bike and walking through there to view that also. So we got a lot going on the island right now on the conservation end.
Do we have wildlife on the island besides
We do.
deer? Okay,
Yes.
what kind of wildlife can a person encounter on the island?
Well, you're gonna run into a lot of beaver. You're gonna run into a lot of squirrels, coyotes. Uh, we got turtles. We have snakes. We have it all.
You got snakes.
Yeah,
Snakes on the island.
Yes, but they're not dangerous though. I want to point that out. They're not dangerous.
All
But
right.
yep. But you have a lot of habitat that are right there on the island, and when you're riding through Belle Isle early morning, you can catch the deer feeding in the morning. And my wife calls me every day on her way and says, I saw a bunch of deer feeding in the morning. Yeah, I said they're out and about, so it's good to see.
So we'll have trailways for people to
Yep.
walk and hike. We'll have
Mm-hmm.
bikeways. The
Yep.
Scott Fountain is being renovated, and that'll be a great, cool place for all your beautiful photo shoots and reception photo shoots. And then we have historic buildings on canals. Oh, canals are open for canoeing again. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that. And then you have historic buildings that are going through transformations too.
Yep.
What are some of those building transformations?
We have the casino building, and it's not an actual casino. It's just a rental facility where we do a lot of our weddings and meetings and trainings, and so that building is undergoing a entirely new roof, windows, doors, heating system, fire suppression system, and also a new elevator. So that one will be completed in 2024. And then at the Flynn Pavilion, same thing. It's a place where people rent for weddings and meetings and trainings, and that one will be ready in September of 2023. And you've got new boiler systems, new windows, new roof, new ADA access to the building. Also, the parking lot was redone as well. And that's where you can actually rent your canoe. So the canoe operator will be able to, you can park right in the lot, and you'll be able to rent a canoe, kayak from the vendor, and you can go right into the channel.
All right. So speaking of vendors, are there job opportunities and opportunities for folks who want to be vendors to whether it's a food truck or provide some other need on the island? Is there opportunity there?
There is. We're actually going to be announcing a training session for vendors and also for construction, because we want people to understand how to go through the process to become a vendor on the island. So we're going to do a presentation in March for that. And then in April 24th, we're going to do a presentation for all the construction companies that have an interest in doing any type of construction work around the state of Michigan and all the state parks. So you'll know how to get your company registered. You'll know all the steps you have to take. So there are opportunities there for individuals to come onto the island to provide services. Absolutely.
I love it. And jobs, we've got just regular seasonal jobs coming up. When do we start applying? When is that?
We are interviewing now. I have openings at Belle Isle and also at Milligan. So we are interviewing people now. If you have an interest, contact me at 313-821-9844 and ask for Karis Floyd. And then we will get you the applications and we'll get you set up for an interview. We pay $15 an hour. We hire people to run the booth to sell the recreational passport. We hire people to help with just the general maintenance of the park. So and also I will always tell people, and keep in mind, we're also looking for those that have an interest in becoming a ranger. So we have the mentoring programs that we put together for those that have an interest in becoming a ranger. Because to start an entry-level ranger, you don't have to have any experience. But we put you right through everything that you need to know and understand, and then we start prepping you for interviews. And we want to, I won't be around forever, so I got to find people to replace me. So We got to get them
No,
out.
you must stay. You're so good, Karis, and so knowledgeable about that. And it is really important that we pass down the legacy and try to bring people into this space, because there's
Right,
not a lot of people that look like you and I
right.
who operate in this natural resource space. When we talk about conservation,
Hmm.
it's only a few of us in the room. It's
Right,
increasing, but it's a
right.
few. And so I encourage all the listeners here at the Community Bell, and I'm sure you're not talking about just kids. These are jobs for
No,
adults,
these are
right?
jobs for adults. Yes, 18 and over. I hire. I like for my staff to represent my community. So I hire senior citizens. I hire young people. I hire college people. Doesn't matter. If you want to work, I have work for you.
Good, good. And it's fun, right? It's
Yep, and
outside.
it's fun.
Some
Exactly.
inside jobs in there too.
Yes. Yep. We have office jobs. We hire people to help register people inside the office, and also like down at Milligan to register my boaters. I have to hire office workers to help with that. So we have a lot of different choices, a lot of different jobs, and just come on out and apply.
Listen, on this Community Bell show, the community hour here, this is good stuff. I don't even know. We go on that island all the time. And
Hmm.
and so there's just opportunity galore to enjoy it, to be a part of it, making a difference there, to be employed there, volunteer opportunities. And I think even you guys connect with the Outdoor Adventure Center that's just not even a half a mile maybe away from Belle Isle, where that's an indoor experience. If you
Correct.
have not, folks, if you have not, listeners, if you have not been to the Outdoor Adventure Center, you are missing it. In fact, I recommend it for a date night, and I recommend it for family night. It is amazing. I slid down the tree slide. I got in the boat and pretended to fish. I had a full blown experience at the Outdoor Adventure Center. So if you like me, like I don't know about the cold, go to the Outdoor Adventure Center. It's inside. But if you really want to experience Detroit in a new way, you've got to go to Belle Isle this summer. Let me ask you this, Karis, this mom, and then I'm going to wrap it up. When I go to the DIA, they have this app, and it's a little scavenger hunt game where I can find things, and it's really fun, very interactive. Have you
Hmm.
all done anything with technology to make it a little more interactive on the island, to go find things, explore what the species of tree is or plant or anything like that?
Those are some of the things we're actually working on. So we are actually improving our technology so that we have programming. And as you mentioned with the OAC, we have programming at which you get the indoor experience, and then you come to Belle Isle or Milligan to get the outdoor experience. So what we run a lot of youth programming on the island and also at Milligan, where you get that opportunity to experience exactly what you just experienced inside the OAC. So we do have programming. If you go on to our Belle Isle Facebook, everything that we're doing on Belle Isle as far as any programming events that are coming up, you'll see everything listed on the Facebook page.
Very good, very good. Anything else you want to share as we get ready
Yep.
for spring?
I wanted to let people know that the second half of the Ralph Wilson Trail will be breaking ground in spring. And so once that trail is completed, you'll be able to bike or walk around the entire island. And then if you're really adventurous, the trail will lead you up to the UP as well. So we'll have an area where you can park. There'll be a restroom there. You'll be able to access the trail, and it all starts at the Iron Bell Trail. Starts at Belle Isle.
All right.
Starting
Thank you,
point.
Karis Floyd of Belle Isle. I thank you so much for coming on the show. You gave us some really important, valuable information of improvements on the island and opportunities for work too. So you take care and continue to do that great work you're doing over there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on today.
You're welcome.
Bye
All
bye.
right, folks. Bye-bye. As we wrap up today's Community Bell Show, I just want to thank my guest, Karis Floyd, the Department of Natural Resources, Edna Bell, the delightful, charming, beautiful Edna Bell, and Sandy Rose too, who helped me through this whole program and get me ready for this. And in closing, to all of you watching today, again, my heart goes out. If you are suffering, if you are in crisis, if you have been bullied or you are aggrieved at something that has done you or someone that has done you wrong, please, before you go out and harm yourself or anyone else, I want to recommend that you call the new improved suicide and crisis lifeline. That number is 988. Just call 988. We understand that things happen in life. There could be a situation that angers you, that pisses you off. First, I hope that you will pray if you believe in God, that is a source for you. And if not, I welcome you to my church, Detroit Unity Temple. Please come and do that. But if not, and you find yourself in crisis, and this world is just getting too hard, please pick up the phone and dial 988. We don't need another senseless death. And as a person who is a responsible firearm owner, who respects the sanctity of life and of our planet, we ask that you all, everyone who has firearms, to be responsible with that, and for our legislators to enact responsible and mindful legislation that also takes care of the issue before someone gets to a point. What the United States Secret Service calls is behavioral threat assessment programs, that we look at the studies that are provided, what Mother Jones magazine did a study, what they provided, there's another the Gun Violence Archives, is a wealth of information that helps us try to help people who are in crisis before they go and do this horrible thing of taking life, human life, our most sacred and precious human life as well. So ask that you all use that resource, that 988 number. And to all of you watching today, I hope that you found this episode informative and insightful. And it has been my joy and pleasure. Again, I'm Leslie Love, actress, comedian, and former state legislator, and maybe even a future U.S. Senator. Who knows? I'm thinking about it. But I will be performing Sunday, March 5th at the International Center, 6 p.m. It's the Women of Comedy there, and we're going to be honoring Detroit's own Coco Ginger at that event. But please come check out my show. I'll be talking about a lot of stuff: current events, politics, love, and relationships. So you'll get to see another side of me. If you've already known me as a state representative, you'll get to see my funny side as a comedian. Sunday, March 5th at the International Center. That's 111 East Kirby, right next door to the DIA. I'll be there, and I hope to see you too. So thank you again, Edna Bell, and the listeners of the Community Bell Show. I've been your substitute host, Leslie Love. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
The views and opinions expressed on the previous broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
We are WVTC Detroit. What it is. We're gospel music. Preaching, teaching, inspiration, encouragement, news, and guest interviews. We are WVTC We're winning victories. Through Christ. WVTC Detroit. All up in the community. That's who we are. What it is.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.